According to National Electrical Code Section 680.22, the requirements apply to installations of electrical equipment and conductors in or on swimming pools, fountains, and similar structures. Based on the information provided, a receptacle in the sidewalk intended for a fountain is considered an installation in or on a fountain. Therefore, National Electrical Code Section 680.22 would apply. National Electrical Code Section 680.22 outward requires that all electrical equipment in or on a fountain be grounded. If a small pump lacks a log for bonding, grounding the equipment per National Electrical Code Section 680.22 outward is not possible. The National Electrical Code does not provide any provision for declassifying an installation to bypass compliance with fountain requirements. There are several options that can be considered. Firstly, use a pump with a grounding lug. Install a pump that has a lug for bonding, allowing it to be properly grounded. Secondly, install a ground fault circuit interrupter receptacle. Install a ground fault circuit interrupter receptacle upstream of the fountain pump to provide additional protection from electrical shock. Thirdly, contact a qualified electrician for further guidance and options that may be available. While the practice of installing a receptacle in a sidewalk for a fountain might be considered standard operating procedure, it is not compliant with the National Electrical Code and poses a safety hazard. Let's delve into a more detailed explanation of the National Electrical Code requirements for fountains, as well as acceptable safety measures. National Electrical Code Section 680 is dedicated to swimming pools, fountains, and similar installations, addressing the unique electrical hazards associated with these environments. The presence of water significantly increases the risk of electric shock, making strict adherence to these codes essential. National Electrical Code Section 680.22 specifically covers the area around fountains, dictating the requirements for receptacles, lighting, and other electrical equipment. The primary concern is preventing electrical shock hazards to people who may come into contact with the fountain or its surrounding area. Grounding is a critical safety measure that provides a low-resistance path for fault current to return to the source, tripping the circuit breaker or fuse and quickly disconnecting the power in the event of a fault. This prevents dangerous voltage from building up on conductive surfaces, reducing the risk of electric shock. National Electrical Code Section 680.22 outlines the specific grounding requirements for electrical equipment in or around fountains. It mandates that all electrical equipment, including pumps, lighting fixtures, and control panels, must be properly grounded. This grounding must be achieved through a dedicated grounding conductor run with the circuit conductors back to the service panel. In situations where a pump lacks a grounding lug, it is impossible to comply with the National Electrical Code grounding requirements. Attempting to operate such equipment without proper grounding creates a significant safety risk, as any fault in the pump could energize the fountain water and surrounding surfaces, potentially leading to a severe or fatal electric shock. While the National Electrical Code does not allow for declassifying a fountain installation to avoid compliance with Section 680, there are alternative solutions that can ensure safety and code compliance. The most straightforward approach is to use a pump equipped with a grounding lug. This allows for proper grounding of the pump as required by National Electrical Code Section 680.22a. The grounding conductor should be connected to the pump's grounding lug and run back to the service panel, ensuring a reliable low-resistance ground path. Another essential safety measure is the installation of a ground fault circuit interrupter receptacle. A ground fault circuit interrupter is a device that monitors the current flowing in a circuit and quickly interrupts the power if it detects a ground fault, which is an unintended current path to ground. Ground fault circuit interrupters are designed to trip at very low current levels, typically around 5 mA, providing a high degree of protection against electric shock. Installing a ground fault circuit interrupter receptacle upstream of the fountain pump offers additional protection against electrical shock, even if the pump itself is not properly grounded. If a ground fault occurs in the pump, the ground fault circuit interrupter will quickly trip, cutting off the power and preventing a dangerous voltage from building up on the fountain water or surrounding surfaces. It is crucial to understand that the ground fault circuit interrupter does not replace the need for proper grounding. It is an additional layer of protection that enhances safety in wet environments like fountains. Consulting with a qualified electrician is always recommended when dealing with electrical installations, especially in potentially hazardous locations such as fountains. A qualified electrician has the knowledge and experience to ensure that the installation complies with all applicable codes and standards and that all safety measures are properly implemented. The electrician can assess the specific requirements of the fountain installation, select the appropriate equipment, and perform the installation in a safe and professional manner. They can also provide guidance on ongoing maintenance and testing to ensure the continued safety of the installation. It is important to remember that electrical safety is paramount, and shortcuts or deviations from the National Electrical Code can have serious consequences. Prioritizing safety and code compliance is essential to protect people from the risk of electric shock and ensure the long-term reliability of the electrical installation. In summary, installing a receptacle for a fountain requires strict adherence to National Electrical Code Section 680.22. Grounding is a critical safety measure, and pumps without grounding lugs should not be used. Ground fault circuit interrupters provide additional protection against electric shock, and consulting with a qualified electrician is always recommended. By following these guidelines, you can ensure a safe and code-compliant fountain installation. Here are some additional considerations for fountain receptacle installations. The location of the receptacle is critical to ensure safety and prevent accidental contact with water. The receptacle should be installed at least 4 feet horizontally from the inside wall of the fountain, as required by National Electrical Code Section 680.22 FIV. The receptacle should also be installed at a height that prevents it from being submerged in water during normal operation or flooding conditions. Weatherproof receptacles are essential for outdoor fountain installations to protect against moisture and corrosion. The receptacle should be listed for wet locations and have a weatherproof cover that protects the receptacle when not in use. The cover should be self-closing and gasketed to prevent water from entering the receptacle. Overcurrent protection is required to protect the circuit supplying the fountain receptacle. The circuit breaker or fuse should be sized appropriately for the load served by the receptacle. The overcurrent protection device should be installed in a readily accessible location. Wiring methods for fountain receptacles must comply with the National Electrical Code. Underground wiring must be installed in conduit or direct burial cable approved for wet locations. Conductors must be sized appropriately for the load served by the receptacle and must be protected from physical damage. Regular inspections and maintenance are essential to ensure the continued safety and reliability of fountain receptacle installations. The receptacle, wiring, and ground fault circuit interrupters should be inspected regularly for signs of damage or corrosion. The ground fault circuit interrupter should be tested monthly to ensure that it is functioning properly. Any damaged or defective equipment should be replaced immediately. Training is essential for personnel who install, maintain, or operate fountain receptacle installations. Personnel should be trained on the National Electrical Code requirements for fountains, as well as the proper procedures for grounding, wiring, and testing electrical equipment. Training should be provided by a qualified instructor. Documentation is important for tracking the installation, maintenance, and testing of fountain receptacle installations. Records should be kept of the date of installation, the type of equipment installed, the results of inspections and tests, and any repairs or replacements made. Documentation should be readily available for review. Coordination with other trades is essential to ensure that the fountain receptacle installation is properly integrated with other systems such as plumbing and landscaping. Communication between trades is critical to avoid conflicts and ensure that the installation is safe and code compliant. Local codes and regulations may have additional requirements for fountain receptacle installations. It is important to check with the local building department or electrical inspector to ensure that the installation complies with all applicable codes and regulations. Failure to comply with local codes and regulations can result in fines or other penalties. Innovation is important for improving the safety and efficiency of fountain receptacle installations. New technologies and materials are constantly being developed that can enhance the performance and safety of electrical equipment. Staying abreast of these innovations can help to ensure that fountain receptacle installations are state-of-the-art. Environmental considerations are important for fountain receptacle installations. The use of energy-efficient equipment can help to reduce the environmental impact of the fountain. Proper disposal of waste materials can help to prevent pollution. Public awareness is important for promoting electrical safety around fountains. Educating the public about the hazards of electricity and the importance of safety precautions can help to prevent accidents. Signs and warnings should be posted near fountains to alert people to the potential hazards. Collaboration is essential for improving electrical safety in the fountain industry. Working together, manufacturers, contractors, inspectors, and regulators can develop and implement best practices that protect people from the risk of electric shock. Sharing information and lessons learned can help to prevent future accidents. Continuous improvement is essential for ensuring the long-term safety and reliability of fountain receptacle installations. Regularly reviewing and updating safety practices can help to identify and address potential hazards before they cause accidents. A commitment to continuous improvement is essential for creating a culture of safety in the fountain industry. It is important to emphasize that the information provided in this discussion is for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional electrical advice. Always consult with a qualified electrician or electrical engineer before undertaking any electrical work, especially in potentially hazardous locations such as fountains. Electrical codes and regulations are constantly evolving, so it is important to stay up to date on the latest requirements. The National Electrical Code is updated every 3 years, so it is essential to use the most current edition. Local codes and regulations may also have their own unique requirements, so it is important to check with the local authorities. Safety is always the top priority when working with electricity. Never take shortcuts or deviate from the code. If you are not qualified to perform electrical work, hire a professional. Remember, electricity can be dangerous, so always take the necessary precautions to protect yourself and others. In addition to the technical aspects of fountain receptacle installations, it is also important to consider the aesthetic aspects. The receptacle should be installed in a location that is visually appealing and does not detract from the beauty of the fountain. The receptacle cover should be chosen to match the style of the fountain and surrounding landscape. The wiring should be concealed as much as possible to create a clean and uncluttered appearance. The goal is to create a fountain installation that is both safe and beautiful. In conclusion, installing a receptacle for a fountain requires careful planning, attention to detail, and adherence to all applicable codes and regulations. By following the guidelines outlined in this discussion, you can ensure a safe, reliable, and aesthetically pleasing fountain installation. Remember to always prioritize safety and consult with a qualified electrician or electrical engineer if you have any questions or concerns.